Hi everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. Today is May 12th, 2018. I'm going to do, I believe it'll be 3 installments. I could be wrong, but the first part I'm going to go over the energies since the 9th through the 12th. The second part will be about the Divine Feminine, a specific topic about them coming into their own. And this isn't just for the twin flames, but the divine feminine energy. And then the third part will be about colors. There's something I wanted to bring up about that. And if I have time, I will pull some cards as well. Okay? So I am not at home right now. I am actually in Arizona for my daughter's graduation, which comes up as part of the energies. Sometimes some of my trips are specifically representative so that it becomes easy to understand the energies that are going on for the collective. And again, everything is metaphoric, and I'm going to go over some of that in the energies that have come up in the past few days. Very important energies. And yeah. So first I'm going to let you know the energy of today's date, and then I'm going to go back to the 9th and move forward again. Today, again, is May 12th, 2018. I'm sorry if the volume isn't as loud as it could be. This is my iPad, and this is all I have out here. And the volume is all the way up, and I'm as close to the speaker as possible, or to the mic. So again, my apologies. If you use your earbuds, it will help in hearing the volume. So we have today, May 12th, 2018. It adds up to 28-1 today, which I always see as a very twin flame number. It is the Two of Wands. The 12th is the Hanged Man, or the Hanging Man in some decks, which is of wisdom, as is 12, the number 12. It's the culmination of the cycle in the higher octave. So in numerology, as I've stated before, 1 through 9 is the basic numerology cycle, and then numbers 10, 11, 12 are considered the higher octave numbers. Just like in astrology, the higher octave placements, like normally Venus is in Libra as its natural placement, but Taurus is actually the higher octave for Venus. So we are moving into that Taurus energy as Uranus goes forward in Taurus on the 15th to the 16th. And there are major, this is a major shift, and Uranus is about sudden changes. So there's going to be a lot of sudden changes. And if you listen to Leo King today, he's talking all about the shifts of this week, and there may be some very strong conflict energy this week, so be careful about the decisions that you make. Going back to, then I'll get into the day's numbers again. Again, number 12 is the Hangman, number 28 is the Two of Wands. It's about choosing path, but it's also about the twins, right? Because wands are fire, so it's twin flames. And that's about co-creation, because when you co-create with your twin, you will be constantly making choices of path in your co-creation. Okay, so going back to May 9th, that's the day that I traveled to come here, and I did make my last installment that morning before I left on my flight. That day before I got here, because I met here for my daughter's graduation, and so my son also came, and my sister came, and her roommate, so we spent a lot of time together. But the day I wasn't here, they all went to rent ATVs in the desert. So this is very significant of the energy of the 9th, because as on my last video, I called the 9th the energy of the crucifixion, the death of the divine masculine, the sacrificial energy and there were sacrifices that day. And just to give you an example of that energy on the 9th, of the crucifixion of the divine masculine, my son, as I said, with my daughter and my sister, went ATV riding. And in the desert, it's very rocky, and my son actually turned the ATV over and, hurt himself a bit. He's okay, no major injuries, but, it could have been disastrous, obviously. But that's the kind of energy we were dealing with, and still this week. Also, you'll see divine masculine energies sacrificing themselves for other people's unions. So in general, metaphorically speaking, you will see this. The day of the 9th was the 9, which is the Hermit, and the 25, which is the King of Wands. That energy. So it was of traveling, and it was also, the Man of Passion is the King of Wands. The Knight of Wands, it is the Knight of Wands energy, is about passionate movement and travel. And for the crucifixion energy, that would be etheric movement as a metaphor to the crucifixion. The Hermit is wise and alone, and yet the Knight of Wands is passionately traveling. So that's representative of Jesus on the cross as the Hermit, but yet he was traveling in the etheric realms and free. I also noted, I was looking at the energies throughout the rest of the month when I was talking about the dates that I brought up on the last video about the crucifixion and the 3 days of the rise afterward, and then the restitution on the 14th, and then the freedom of the soul on the 16th going into the 17th, or the 15th going into the 16th. And what I saw in looking up the energies for the rest of the month was that the rest of May is all wand energy, which is very passionate. And I'm reminding you too that my view of passion is inspiration plus ego. So there's always going to be ego involved when you're dealing with passion. And the rest of May is all passionate energy. And that makes sense too. We're in that 5 month. 5 is that conflict energy of change, the expansion energy. So we're in the wand energy through June 6th, which went then on the 6th changes to the cups energy, which is more of love. So we're in that very passionate energy now through June 6th. On June 6th, it moves to the cups energy, which starts with the King of Cups, which is unconditional love. So that 6-6 portal plus 6 is love. So that's some really positive energy that we go into in the beginning of June. So, and just a reminder, as we go into Uranus and Taurus, again, Taurus is the higher octave of the Venus placement of love. But we're dealing with Uranus here, which is about the universal consciousness. So about universal love in the higher octave of Venus in Taurus, which is very stable and persistent, Taurus energy, which Uranus is not. Uranus is sudden changes, sudden big profound changes, and that happen quickly. So that is the expansion energy, that energy of conflict, and we're all learning to transmute that and stay detached and neutral in those situations and not become triggered. And if you do, it's always allow, but to step out of those situations so that you don't feed into the drama of the situation. And if you do get triggered, step away so that you can meditate or do whatever you need to do to ground yourself before coming forth again. That's what we're learning to do in the dance between the twins and the twin flame friends. Okay, and that has to do with what I brought up on my last video about the chord and harmony. Okay, sometimes there needs to be a little space between the notes to create harmony. Once we're able to do that dance, we can actually play a melody. So also on the 9th, for some reason the name Tracy kept coming up, which is not normal for me. I don't have any Tracys in my close sphere, but it came up at least 3 times that day, including while I was on the plane. I spoke to a very, very nice Tracy on the plane, who happened to be a traveling nurse. And I want to refer you back, as in reference to the dance. I made a little chart as one of my tags on one of my recent videos that was split up into 5 parts. And it showed the infinity as circles, as opposed to like an 8, but like the Olympic circles right next to each other. Same thing, just, you know, in a complete circle, the balanced circle. That the integration of the self is the 2 circles next to each other, or in other words, the infinity symbol. And this is the 3D, okay? So when we first start our journey, we're learning to integrate our own inner divine masculine and feminine. Okay, that's the infinity, going back and forth, doing the dance within yourself. As we get into the 4th density, or 4th dimension energy, we go into the 3 circles next to each other, which have come up on other people's videos as well in different ways. But if you put 3 circles next to each other, you get the dance, okay? So that's representative of the twins with the space in the middle, or the Christ consciousness in the middle, the 3rd energy. So then you have 3 circles, and you're dancing with that buffer in the middle, the Christ consciousness between the divine masculine and the divine feminine. That's the 4th dimension energy. And then we go into the 5th dimension, where the circles all come together and become one. Okay? And I found it interesting too, and I'd love to hear your comments or feedback about this, is that the 2 circles and the 3 circles, when you bring them together, is basically the Olympic symbol, like Mount Olympia or Mount Olympus. So all of these new epiphanies can come in from that kind of information. So, and it's interesting that the Olympic symbol aren't sitting side by side, but actually crossing each other. And what does that reference have to do with why I'm bringing this up now? And that after the 2 and the 3, they all become one circle, one perfect circle, continuous, one love, unity consciousness. The one circle is the 5D. That's what we're working toward. But in working toward that, we do it by dancing within our harmonious unions with the 3rd energy, co-creating.